Welcome to this video walkthrough on how to create hybrid picture sketch notes with an iPad. So the first process is to find any picture that you like to use, and then what I like to do is drop it into Keynote to slightly change the transparency so it's a little bit easier to see the notes on top of it. So here I'm going to drop in a picture from my camera roll, and once that picture is dropped in, I'll then use a little paintbrush icon, get into the style options, and then just pull back the opacity so you can see the picture a little bit less clearly, so the inking will pop up a bit more on top later. Once that's done, you can always click the play button and pull a screenshot, or you can screenshot from here and then edit it in the camera roll, as I'm going to do quickly. So once you're done cropping or just screenshotting from the full presentation mode, then you can begin the process of changing the tilt shift function on the picture. What I like to do is use tilt shift video in order to focus on the central speaker and blur out the rest of the image. So now that I have my slightly opaque and cropped image, I'm going to go to Tilt Shift Video, pull that picture in, and then I like to use the circle tilt shift feature that I'll show momentarily. And what I'm going to do is focus on the speaker here. And notice how I'm putting the focal point on the speaker, making the rest of the picture quite blurry, and then again exporting that out to the camera roll. What that is going to allow me to do later is just have a more kind of clear and crisp focus on the ideas I'm trying to present with my sketch notes and less on the background picture. Once that's been exported, what I like to do is actually jump over to the paper notes that I've created while I've been watching this presentation or speak or reading. So these were all done on paper in my Moleskine notebook. So what I'll do is review the paper notes and then start to develop the digital version of those notes or the sketches that I need to drop on top of the visual. My preference is to go to paper 53, and then what I'll do is begin to create text, small sketches, arrows, drawings, anything that I know I'm going to need later on top of that picture. Those can be created all on one page, on multiple pages in a journal, any way that you'd like to create. I'm going to use white as my color because I want it to pop out on top of the picture, but depending on what your background is in the picture, you can really use any color you'd like in paper 53. Now the critical reason why I use paper 53 is because I can export these as a transparency from the app, which is going to allow me to lay them directly on top of my image later. Now in terms of doing the layering, I prefer to use Explain Everything, and I'll show you why. There's two central reasons. One is that I can drop that slightly opaque and tilt shift picture in Explain Everything, resize it, and then lock it exactly where I want it. So I'm going to tap on the inspector, tap on the picture, and then lock that picture in place. Now what I can do is start to pull in my transparencies that I created in paper 53 that are in the camera roll. So here's reason one why I recommend using Explain Everything to do the layering. Notice how I can crop out one word from that entire picture. So here's the one word that I cropped out. I can resize, move that, pinch, put it anywhere I want. But the function I really like to use when doing this process is the magnifying glass on the left-hand side of the toolbar, which gives you an infinite zoom in and out by pinching with two fingers. So what this allows me to do is select a picture from my paper 53 transparency, drop it on top of the original image, use the infinite zoom in, and then resize that picture to set it perfectly where I'd like it to appear on my final sketch notes. This process might be slightly cumbersome at first, but when you get used to the process of paper 53 transparencies dropped on top of Explain Everything and then resized, it becomes a pretty fluid process. The next step I like to do in Explain Everything is drop some slightly transparent sketches on top of the text in order to make them pop and give kind of a focal point to different ideas that are connected by color. Notice here, I'm using the red icon on the left. I pulled back the opacity a little bit and changed the color to red and then changed the color to green. What this allows me to do, like I said earlier, is focus on specific ideas, match them up via color, and really have the ideas stand out on the image. When I'm completely done, I'll just use the infinite zoom feature to match the picture up with the borders of the frame and then export this to the camera roll. A final product you can create with all these steps combined can look something like this, with a combination of typing, slightly opaque, inking, and sketches with paper 53.